Good morning, everybody. So, we're going to talk a little bit about education. I'm really not going to talk for more than maybe 7, 8 minutes. Um, so if you read the PowerPoint, we're probably not going to talk about the religion part of it, but we will talk about the education. Um, you sort of need to understand when you're talking about education that, we've all been a part of the system. Uh, One of the things that they talk about is the hidden curriculum. The hidden curriculum is really um, the socialization aspect of education. What you're taught is you were taught obedience. You were taught how to conform. You were taught basically when in the context of being obedient and conforming. You're taught how to come to school on time. You're taught how to dress. You're taught how to speak. Uh, many things. So you're taught how to move from class to class using a bell system. You're taught consequences if you are late too many times, if you misbehave in class. It's a lot of conformity. They call that the hidden curriculum. Uh, and we've all been exposed to that. So uh, when I talk about that with you, know that also happens at college. But the hidden curriculum, so to speak, has been happening since you guys started school. So uh, you know be aware of that. So if you read the PowerPoint and you wonder what that was, that's what it is. Uh, Education is controversial in the sense that the diploma that many of you are going to get within a month or two. uh, that's been the carrot that's been held over your head for a very long time, and believe me, it is a powerful carrot. It's the thing that will get you to a college, that will get you to a higher status position in society. That's what it is. It's been used like that for years and years and years, ever since they've started doing that. Uh, and believe me, it is the ticket. And you can't even get a job at McDonald's without a high school education anymore. So I mean, it's you really have to get that, and of course that's why they want you to graduate. Um, so in my notes, it's higher status equals superior education for children. It's true, because what's going to happen is that you guys are going to graduate. You guys are going to go to college or trade school or wherever you go, and you guys will raise your children in the same way that you were raised, and your kids will probably go to college or trade school or wherever you went. Uh, that's just a and the children tend to follow the parents in that way educationally. Um, Now, let's talk a little bit while we're here about self fulfilling prophecy. So, you guys have heard that term before. We've used that term in class. If you don't remember what that is, in a classroom, that is a teacher's expectations of what a student can or cannot do. So, for example, if you come into class and I look at you and I tell you, or I say to myself, that student is not going to succeed, or I look at you and I go, troublemaker. I may not say it outwardly, but I'm thinking it inwardly. From that point on, our relationship is tainted, because now I've assumed that you are one way or another, and I'm going to model my expectations in that regard. So, uh, really, self fulfilling prophecy is assuming that certain students cannot succeed. So if you're going to think about that in those terms, if you assume something, then you're going to probably make it happen. Um, with self fulfilling prophecy, a lot of times what happens is that those students are not given the opportunity to succeed. We've all had teachers that have done that. We've all had teachers that were in that, you go in there, they don't like you immediately, and they make it apparent that they don't like you. And they may not say it outwardly, but everything says that. And you know it, and obviously they're aware of it. Uh, but it would be unprofessional for them to come out and go, well, I don't like you. That's, you know, but that happens. And it's happened to me, and it's probably happened to you. So, just be aware of those things. The things that you probably already know is that you guys have been tracked since you were in kindergarten. All of your test scores, all of the things all of those achievement tests, all of those things are tracking you, and you guys have been put in a category. And so, unfortunately, in education, what you have is you have the students that are listed and labeled as special ed, uh, high achieving, low achieving, uh, low performing. All of those things are words that are used in education to denote students and put them in a certain category. And this is a reality. This is tracking. And so when the colleges look at your scores and they look at your performance and they look at who they want to admit to their school and who they do not, they definitely look at your high school performance and they look at whether you were tracked as a low performing, high performing, middle of the road student, whether you did anything for your 4 years of high school or whether you did not. Uh, you know, whether you made straight A's or whether you made C's. They track all that information. And so you guys are on a database somewhere, in some state, Texas, if you're from here, and they have all of that information. Okay. And we're all told that we have to pass these tests in order to succeed. I had to, you have to. It's one of those things that's a part of the system. Uh, Controversial, very, very controversial. Uh, we're not having to take STAR this year. If you're a sophomore, junior, freshman, hooray for you. Um, and if you are a senior who has passed all your tests, well, good. You get to move on and you get to take more tests and more tests and more tests. And your life is about tests until you get out of college. And then you probably have to take more tests in order to do what you want to do. So, you're always going to be taking tests. You're always going to be in that zone. Um, last thing I want to talk about is really school choice and vouchers. It's a very controversial thing because what happens in education is that occasionally you have a school that's so bad that the city or the state will give parents the opportunity to take their kids out of that bad school and send it to a school that is better performing using what's called the voucher system. And the parents can apply for those vouchers and the parents can literally take their kids out of that underperforming school and send them all to the really good school. The problem is, if that school is bad enough, nobody wants to be at that bad school and they're all trying to get vouchers. And they're all trying to get their kids out of that school. It's a really controversial thing because, of course, what happens to the school once all of the kids that are gone are at the new school? Well, you're left with the kids that can't get out, that don't want to be there, it becomes really it doesn't help the school. Let's put it that way. So that's school choice. That's the downside of that. Uh, of course, the school where the kids move to, of course, it gets overcrowded, and if you have students that were underperforming at the older school or were behavior problems, then they bring their behavior problems to the new school. So I mean, it's a system. The system is crazy like that. Um, but that's education in the United States. That's what we're dealing with, and so. Um, and you will continue to see that. And if any of you become teachers, you will see that as time goes on. Okay, so we've ended with that. Uh, Please continue to look at the posts. You need to be looking at the posts because I'm going to be posting new work there uh, underneath my messages, and so. Continue to do that. Like when you go on and you go and you if you have an iPhone or a Android and you go to click on your class and the first thing you see is the message with assignments in it, that's me. Okay? And you'll see that. Uh, I'm not putting in files, and I'm not putting in class materials folder because nobody could find it. And I was getting huge amounts of, you know, I was getting huge issues with that. The same thing with assignments. I can't even figure that out. So the best thing to do is just drop it directly on the message board with your assignments in there. Okay, so look for those. Uh, the post that I will put it under is what is it? 220. It's 42720. So look for 42720 as the beginning of that for the date, and you'll be okay. All right. Well, I hope I haven't confused you. Anyway, I miss you guys. I'm sorry that we're not going to get to be together this year. So I will see a lot of you in the hallways next year. Okay? Uh, but I will continue to post on here and post my lessons and all that stuff. Okay, God bless you. Goodbye. Miss you guys.